Hey friend, I'm back. In case you missed it, my family recently moved from Virginia to Ohio, so I took a little bit of time off YouTube as we made that transition and launched the MILSPOUSE photographer database, but I am excited to jump back in today. So as we've made this transition and as I get ready to relaunch the content on this channel, I thought it would be helpful to share some of my experience with this move with you. So in this video, we are going to dive into 3 things that I learned from this PCS. If you have a move coming up anytime soon, I hope my experience will help you. Lesson number 1 is that market size matters when you're working with your SEO. Now, in a previous video, I suggested that there are some website updates that you should make before you move in order to get a jump start on your SEO. Personally, I made these about 2 months ahead of time and expected that it would take a little bit of time to see results. For reference, when we moved to Virginia, it took me about a year and a half of blogging every single session that I shot in order to reach the top 10 on Google for my target keyword at the time. Now, fast forward to this move, I have yet to blog a single session in Dayton, and I am already in the top 10 search results for my target keyword. So, what's the deal here? I think it has a lot to do with the market size. Dayton is a much smaller city than DC. There are fewer photographers here that I'm competing with. And if I'm being totally honest, I don't think a lot of photographers do SEO well. And so with these 3 things kind of combined in one, it set me up really well to rank on Google. So what do I do with this information? Well, I'm going to keep an eye as I start blogging sessions in this area on how long it takes me to reach the top 5, how long it takes me to reach the top 2. And then I can take this timeline into consideration when it's time for our next move in about a year and a half. When it's time for me to make those website updates, I'll have another data point that I can use to help me figure out when it makes sense for me to make those updates based on the size of the market that I'm heading into. Lesson number 2 is that you can't have too much coffee. Not just literally, because yes, this season is exhausting, but grabbing coffee is a great way to meet people. Neighbors, fellow photographers, other vendors, heck, even just new friends. As someone who books a lot of sessions based on referrals, I'm constantly reminded that my network plays a huge role in the success of my business. And so even in just the first few weeks of being here, I'm already trying to meet people and have had some great success from it. Here's the story. I was on a walk with my kids. We were headed to the park. My son is obsessed with dogs and stopped to pet one along the way. The owner was wonderful, let him pet the pup for a little bit, and I started talking with her. She suggested I joined this awesome neighborhood moms group, so I did that and joined the Facebook group, introduced myself, mentioned that I was a photographer, but that wasn't at all the bulk of the post, and ended up with over 80 comments on my intro post. This mom's group is invested. Anyway, one fellow MILSPOUSE mom replied with a handful of things that we had in common, so we decided to grab coffee, take our kids to the park. One park play date, we hit it off, turned into another park play date, and after just about 3 weeks of knowing each other, thinking that I just met a new friend, was pretty excited about that, she reached out to me with an idea. Now, she is in charge of the playgroup portion of this mom's group, and she had a little bit of money to put towards a fall activity for the playgroup, and she asked if I would be interested in taking pictures of 10 to 20 toddlers who come to this playgroup as their fall activity. So putting me in front of 10 to 20 families of my ideal client in a tight-knit community with lots of options and opportunity for referrals. Don't mind if I do. Now, this is just one example of someone I met for coffee, but another coffee date was with someone who's been here a long time and turned into a laundry list of different location options. Another one was with a local photographer who shared some kind of inside scoop with me, and others was just a nice hour of chatting with an adult. Maybe something business will come from it, maybe not, but non-MILSPOUSE, non-photographer friends are still wonderful to have too. Now, before you tell me that you're way too introverted to do this, let me just encourage you. I really have to talk myself up to do this too. And if I try to stack too many of these in a week, I am burned out by the end. So use your calendar, pace yourself, but I would encourage you to do this because something great might just come from it. Lesson number 3 is to expect the unexpected. This isn't necessarily a photography lesson, though it could be, and perhaps it's one that I should have learned plenty of moves ago, but here we are. Every time we move, I feel like I'm prepared for what's to come, and then every time we move, something unexpected happens. When we moved from Montana to New Mexico, my son had pink eye and was so kind to share that with me en route. And then when we moved from New Mexico to Virginia, it took 7 weeks for our things to arrive because of labor shortages. So we were living in an empty house for almost 2 months. And this time, moving to Ohio, I was dealing with a back injury and was instructed not to bend, twist, or lift anything heavier than a gallon of milk, which was obviously a huge challenge during a move. Plus, we had our movers confirm our delivery date and then not show multiple times, so we got to deal with that too. Now, my point here isn't just to complain about how hard moving is, because we all know the challenges that it brings. But someone said to me this time around what an important skill I'm teaching my kids about how I respond to things when life doesn't go according to plan. And honestly, I still feel like I'm learning that lesson myself a lot of the time, but it was a really good reminder to roll with the punches and go with the flow when I have no control over what is happening. I can focus on the things I can control and my response to it and just go with whatever else is happening. That, and just know that there's no such thing as a perfect move, and something is almost certainly going to come up along the way. Well, there you have it, friend. 3 lessons that I am taking away from this recent move. Market size matters when you're dealing with SEO. You can't drink too much coffee, and breathe deep and roll with the punches when things don't go according to plan. If you have a move coming up soon, I hope that my experience helps you. I also have a free guide that I'm happy to share with you. It is my 5 ways to PCS prep your photography business. I will link that in the description below. Would love for you to check that out and see how it can help you with your upcoming move. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comments below, and I will see you next time.